All right, so just like Witch on the Holy Night, here I am with another, another version out of the mini of Fate. Yeah, so Fate Samurai Remnant. I think I've heard of it a little bit, but you haven't really looked at anything. So yeah, I'm gonna look at like the opening and all that, and the Noble Phantasm. It looked like it was only a good 4 minute video, so I guess not too much yet. And I mean, I'll look again to see if there's a longer one, but yeah, so far I just saw a good 4 minutes of Noble Phantasms. But I'm guessing they're just, not that long or something. But yeah, here we go with Miyamoto. And yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be saying this right. Iori, I think. Was it his first or last name or family name? So yeah, it says that Miyamoto proves himself in Fate Samurai Remnant. So yeah, let's see how he proves himself. And it looks like a game, so I don't know. Yeah, 'cause I was actually looking at Fate like games, or trying to look at something I may want to try and play on the channel. Now Grand Order, I was thinking about it, but I'm like, it is like nothing's wrong with it, but it's just a little older. And I'm like, yeah, I even like sort of did a little bit of the introduction. I'm like, I don't know, am I sure? I mean, I'll still think about it, but yeah, just been looking at some games, and yeah, apparently this was one of them. But other than that, I'm gonna just start this up here. Hope you guys will enjoy. Make sure you like, subscribe, and yeah, let's just see what this Miyamoto guy is all about.
Yo, so with the Fate Remnant collab going on with the release of all these new characters, I wanted to dive into a little bit about the story, mainly focusing on Iori. I ended up having to watch
Iori.
a playthrough because of my arm. Is what it is. I've been waiting all this time. I can't wait any longer. Been wanting to get into the story since the game came out. Overall, narrative-wise, it's solid. I like the direction they took, the people that they decided to use, and the way that they decided to close things out altogether. I will say that I wish that from what I've seen, there was more involvement of some characters like Tamamo and Samson, for instance, but I understand
Okay, don't
that
look
they had to keep
bad.
the main
I can
focus.
see the
And honestly, I
UI.
think that they did that just because they plan to roll that out in the DLC anyway. That's usually the stick these days. They have the full game and then they chop it up and they sell the rest of it.
And then
as
still got the
DLC.
same like
Nothing
casters,
really new there.
saber.
So you really surprised me. I liked him a lot more than I thought I would. Hieda, which is the caster that was bringing the waxing moon ritual together, I liked him a lot more than I thought I would. And of course, everybody's favorite Raiko. Everybody was anticipating for her to be the writer, and it turns out that that was nail on the head, and she did not disappoint.
Okay, who was that?
More so of a carryover from all the things that had been built up in FGO. I didn't think they were going to push it that far, so I'm glad we got more of that. It actually makes her background feel a lot more complete. I love the way that they did the story with this art panels. That's pretty standard for a game of this format, but I often don't play this type of genre, so for me it's really refreshing to see it told in that way, especially when there's a lot being said without actually saying it. It seemed a lot more powerful without being unnecessarily verbose, which, as you guys know, is kind of irregular for a Fate, right? That's one of the main things, is that there's too much being said. But with Remnant, there's only so much being said, and they kind of leave you to decipher the rest. Even the endings, a lot of that is left to be open-ended. They don't just say, hey, this is what it is. They let you decide what it is. So I really love that aspect to it. And of course, one of the people that really surprised me here is Iori. Iori. Or should I say, I'm not surprised. I mean, I already mentioned, and many people said this before the game even came out, that this guy shows a lot of promise. Just from the way that they represented his character initially, it came off as his story would be one worth talking about. And it was, no doubt. I feel like him and Yamato bounced off each other perfectly. And I really feel like he's one of the best protagonists that we have so far, just with what they gave us with Remnant. It was really well done. When I first started to uncover his background and I saw what happened to his village and how he ended up getting to the point where he is in the story, I was thinking, okay, classic, tragic, my entire background got wiped. That's pretty normal. It's all about what you do with it. And the more I got into his story, and I know I shouldn't be doing this, I couldn't help but compare him to the other protagonists. And I know it can't just be me, because the more you go through it, you see a lot of striking similarities to people that came before him. And so I'm looking at the way that he came about. Okay, he's kind of like Shiro, sort of.
That was the first
idea
person that
he's
came
so
to my
narrowly
head.
focused and seems to have
He was like, yeah,
his
let's
moral
relate
compass
him to
intact.
something
And then
else
you get more
or
into
someone
his
else.
actual upbringing, and you realize how isolated he was from everybody else, unless it was something that regarded his craft. Again, very Shiro-ish, until you get to the point where you realize how fiendishly absorbed by it he is, and how it somewhat made him inhuman in a way, because in order to reach this level, you got to give up something, right? And you can see the way that he operated just from the preview that played a large part of it. And also, how he wants
assassin,
to be
okay.
like the person that saved him. And you can get this out of Shiro too, but the ideal isn't as destructive until he actually turns into Archer. So from that point of view, it's like, okay, now it's kind of giving Kiritsugu, but he's not going as far to save everybody. He's not going as far to extend outside of the place where he's at. All of this is primarily focused on him and what he's doing. The waxing moon ritual just happens to be in the way. And then you round things up and you get into the ending of his character. And a lot of that is foreshadowed beforehand, you know, with conversations that he had, like the one where he was talking to you and she's trying to hype him up, and he flat out tells her, I don't know what you think this is, but I am not a selfless man. And it comes off very strange. It's like, huh? What do you mean by that? Even she didn't believe it. But the ending for his character puts it in real bold letters. True ending, normal ending, bad ending, and all the endings were great, by the way. This is supposedly the bad ending, really however you want to interpret it. But what ends up happening, Iori confesses that he gives up his humanity for the sword. He gave up being human just to better himself with the blade. Halfway through the story, it tells us that he actually meets Sasaki Kojiro while he was still alive and got trained by him. So Iori, not only being a disciple of Musashi in the story, the OG Musashi, he's trained with the female Musashi, but he also learned from Sasaki too. So he's kind of merged two of the best swordsmen to ever exist on top of everything that he already knows from all the fights that he's going through now, which is terrifying. And that just goes back into him being one of those best protagonists. It stands to be so impressive that he was able to do all of this on his own merits. And when you see him fighting against people like Raiko at the beginning of the story, he's not the one at the disadvantage. It may seem like it, but he's really the one that everybody should be afraid of, because in this ending that revolves around him, where he finally gets what he desires, he ends up taking the vessel. And you know, it's the classic, the servant is supposed to destroy the vessel and end the war, and that way nothing else will come about from it. Well, before he does this, Iori asked Yamato, what would you do if I said I didn't want to end it? And you can see Yamato kind of like cut his eyes in the back. Like, they were very precise about this, from the expressions that everybody gives, especially these two, to the timing. And Iori tries to play it off like, oh, this is a joke, and then he finally takes the vessel, puts it in the grimoire. Yamato wants to destroy it, and he's like, no, I don't think I'm gonna let you do that. It's like, whoa. Is this Iori's body? Is he confessing to villainhood? There's no way they did this with his character. It's so good. It's so good. And going back into those
man, gotta change it up sometimes.
Who Iori ends up reminding me of is Kirei, and all the things that he ended up going through to end up where he was at the end of the story. And that's not to say that it isn't a combination, because it definitely is. You definitely feel that lack of compassion in the same way. And he ends up having a showdown with Yamato. He ends up having a showdown with his own servant by the end of the story, which, if I'm not mistaken, we've never done. We've never had a protagonist have a flat out one-on-one showdown with their own servant, and that protagonist ended up being accused of villainhood. It was a very interesting take with his character, and that's why it's so exciting that he's been brought into FGO along with the others, because realistically, what Iori wanted, and the reason why he kept the vessel, is that he was gonna cause chaos and keep bringing more warriors to go against, the best of the best, and try to take them all down with this the skill alone. So for him being at Caldea, you're definitely gonna get what you're looking for. I promise you. You gonna meet your match in that motherfucker. But even with the ending, I love the position that Yamato took with his background, especially considering how it's conveyed that he's also taken a lot of lives. So something like this isn't anything new to him. He also says that he's not sympathetic to Iori's position, but at the same time, you can tell that he empathizes with the situation because Yamato ends up being the one that takes Iori down. He was the one person that Iori couldn't get the upper hand on because of that lack of emotion, which is something that neither Musashi or Sasuke abided by. They did what they had to do.
Yo,
and they came from a time where there was a lot
looking
of slaughter
clean
and a lot of people going at it. But as nomadic as
Close.
they may come off, they never gave up humanity in its entirety. And Iori did. He outright admits, it is the reason that I took everybody down up until this point and will continue to do so. He even beat the female Musashi. He literally got that good. Once he learned Sasuke's moves, it pretty much exploited her weakness, and I thought even that was funny because he had trained with female Musashi too, and she was like, you two-timing bastard. Used her own techniques coupled with Sasuke's against her. So he has a brand new form of Tsubume Geishi that nobody else has because he's an amalgam of all these different arts. But it feels good though. The story, I mean, it feels good. I know a lot of people felt a certain type of way. I'm already saying they don't like it. They want the goody two shoes, everybody ends up happy ending. But this is by far my favorite ending, and they're all really good. That's not just because of the way the ending was. It just really hits hard when you consider the journey that they went through, only to come to that conclusion anyway. Like there was no deviating in his path. And you find this with the other endings. And this is where the Kirei element comes in. It comes off that, oh, he could have just lived a normal life because he always cared about his sister. He really did. At least from a logical standpoint, as he was supposed to. Very similar to how Kirei cared for his family, his daughter especially, from a logical standpoint. But that logic only goes so far. And the story itself admits this when the ending comes up and it's not the one that he desired, where he gets taken down by Yamato. His blade is still not sated. So no matter what happens, it still plays into that hand of his sword still thirsts for more. And it may seem like it's a good ending at face value, but the moment that the opportunity presents itself again, he'll do exactly what he did in this story, which further perpetuates something that he says out of his own mouth, that he's just a sword-wielding demon born in the wrong era. Where peace was openly presented to him at the end of the story, he literally denied that peace and says that he wants more conflict just to get better with his blade. A lot like how Kirei didn't have to do any of the things that he did. He could have perfectly went his own way and played pretend and blended in with society, but he would have been satisfied that way. But I do think
could have done
Iori
just that.
plays the veil a lot better, and I think that's only because you can tell that's what they tried to do. They never necessarily tried to play the veil with Kirei, only with the people that he interacted with, and they quickly found out that he's not exactly what he may seem. And I love the part where Yamato ends up laying down next to Iori. That kind of symbolizes that even though he was the one to take him down, he did have a friend in him up until that point, and that's something that was never really presented to him until his wake, until his final moments. Now, from my perspective, and this is just saying, if I was in Iori's shoes, that would feel a little unsettling to know that there was another choice at the very last minute, but by that point in time, it was too late to do anything about it. But what I feel has nothing to do with it. You can tell that even though Yamato may have been his only true friend, and there could have been more to the world than just him and his blade, he was completely satisfied with that. Again, a lot like Kirei, he went out smiling. And I feel like it really sheds a light on one of the biggest issues that we have is the deification of people. People deify humans way too often. And this is a perfect example of that. The man flat out said, I didn't say I was a hero. Y'all said that. I just went with it. And it also
just going along with it.
Chiyemon's criticisms on how Iori is always wearing a mask, which is right to a degree, but it makes them feel kind of misplaced because that isn't always true. There there is a lot of transparency with his character. Maybe not as transparent as him, but Iori could have easily not told Yamato about his wishes, waited for him to disappear, and continue his pursuit that way. And of course, Yamato would have had his suspicions because he can read into things like that, but he never would have known for certain. It was Iori himself that decided that the first step would be to let it all go, let it out in the open. Bro, they're already making memes saying that Iori is basically Goku.
Goku? What?
When you think about it, he really is. Goku is the same person that would sacrifice the world just for a better fight. They are not lying. Then you have Kami coming in at the last minute, having to reap the consequences of her brother's actions. That becomes doubly jarring when, from her perspective, it appears as if Iori wasn't in the wrong when he really was, and she'll never know that because she was kidnapped at the time. It's good. And this is really just surface level. That is not at all what I was expecting it to be. Again, as far as the other endings, I feel like a lot of characters deserve a video on their own.
Oh yeah, all of them looking interesting.
Still can't help but feel like there's more to uncover, especially with the way that things went about with him. As far as the Hieda ending, they decided to bring out a deity that most people probably don't know about. When somebody uses a big bad deity as the foundation, everybody usually knows who that is.
The tongues on his head. What?
And the same thing can be said about Chiemon and what he ended up turning into. Very left field. All of the endings were very left field in their own way. And that's why, I say it goes to show there's a lot that can be done with this series. People try to box it in and make it this and make it that. That was a great game, story-wise at least. I'm sure other people can speak more to how it was played. It looks tedious at times, but that also seems to be the thing that makes it so enjoyable. But the story itself is heat.
Okay, and then that is it for this one. Okay, but yeah, I can kind of see the story being good. Obviously, I don't know anything that goes on here, but yeah, looking at it so far, yeah, I'll just kind of pay attention to what was going on in the background as well while listening to Saya. So I may not have said too much during this, but yeah, it's looking interesting. Like these little panels right here, or these parts right here, and yeah, I guess kind of let it speak for itself, not it literally speaking to you, or them speaking to you. But yeah, these characters, I mean, the assassins, the saber, of course, the main character gotta have the saber. There's like other characters from just the main Fate lore or storyline in general that you can relate to Miyamoto here, Shido and Kide. And going one-on-one with your own servant. You could say Shido basically did that as well, like not his own servant like Saber, but like literally his own servant form he went up against. You got that, and then as I was looking at it here too, how you can compare that right here. Yep, two different people in one. Now I don't know, because I actually did see like a Fate trailer of a game, but that was like a while ago. I just looked at it real quick. I was like, okay, this looks interesting, but I didn't really get into it too much. I was just like, okay, what is this? I just saw a game trailer, and this might have been it, but I don't know. It was something recent. It's just looking at this, some things look a little similar. But here, okay, so Samurai Remnant said this was one of the games, but I think even what Saya was saying, it would be my kind of genre, but then not exactly. And if anything, this would be something I would play on my own anyways, just looking at it so far. But I don't know. I look at the other Fate games, they're pretty much long ago or something. So it's I know the graphics aren't going to be exactly the best or anything, or be for older systems. And I think really yeah, like I said in the intro, Fate Grand Order is like basically the most up to date right now since mobile game, and it's still going strong. Actually, I'm surprised it's even. I mean, I know it's Fate, but yeah, it's still getting what top grossing or something. Yeah, it's up there, and I'm like, okay, and I'm telling you, like, it's not like anything like the story's there. It's not like the graphics are bad or anything. It's just like if they can fix that, like update all of that, that's it. Like they got themselves a whole lot new players. I mean, they can really go crazy with Fate Grand Order. But yeah, there's only so much you can do with mobile games because it's like, well, at least with the controls, because there's no way like how I am on the laptop computer, like pressing all these different keys, moving my mouse and all that. Yeah, you can't do all that on mobile, but there are some games that pretty much open world can basically be played the same way. But yeah, I like this. Yeah, I like certain effects here and there. Then how they have the little the drawing or parts of it. But yeah, I don't know. And I think I got I still got the opening and then the new Phantasm. So I'll look at that. I got a little glimpse maybe of some type of attack. Yeah, right here. But yeah, Miyamoto. Yep, gotta switch it up a little bit, And yeah, no, you saying Sayo saying like goody two shoes ending, like I mean I'm all for it. Like I mean, whenever I watch anime or something, or even look at a game or playing a game, it's like of course I want the main character, the good guy to win, but at the same time I want a little plot twist or something. They still win, but I mean all hope is lost. That's what I like, and not just for like if it was anime just for an episode or two. I'm talking about like I don't even know, a good little while all hope is just lost or something, like 5 episodes, and then out of nowhere here we go getting that hope back, or if anything, no, the villain just wins and that's it. But obviously no one wants that. It depends, unless they've already like made the main character like the villain, then whatever, I'm fine with that. Revenge or something, whatever. But if you're talking about they're good and then the actual bad guy does win, it's like I don't think I want to be seeing them rule the world unless they're like really unless the way how they're doing is really interesting or something. But it don't gotta be like the whole villain winning thing or anything. It's just like a good little plot twist, not like everything, or actually, sacrifice. Have a little bit of sacrifice, not kill everybody though. Not all the main and side characters, no. But some type of sacrifice that has to be made. That's a good little plot twist. It's just sometimes with story, like it's so so everything's so positive to where it's like no sacrifice. I mean, it may be challenging here and there, but then it's like no sacrifice, and then it just ends. It's like, okay, I mean, was it really a deserved win? They may have gone through a challenge, but yeah. So I guess I'm gonna end this off here. I guess Miyamoto definitely proved himself here, and just look for some more Fate games or whatever, and actually other series in general, other versions of Fate. But other than that, hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure you like, subscribe again, and y'all just see you guys in the next one.